Oh, and Time Warp on top of it. That is fun. That's so fun. What's going on, boys? I am here on the Shadowlands PTR, and we are talking about the Arcane Mage, as is requested by one of the viewers. So post the comment up above. So the Arcane Mage has actually undergone some really awesome changes. Most namely their talent tree. There's been a lot of things switched around and moved to make Arcane a lot more fun. And the thing that we've probably been asking for is Touch the Magi, which was your artifact ability in Legion, and a basically mandatory talent that you took in BFA, is now baseline. So that gives Arcane Mages some AoE, and it gives them an awesome little bursty cooldown to coincide with Arcane Power. So let's go over to the talents here. As my time anomaly goes off promptly. The 15 row hasn't changed much. The main thing is amplification causes 2 additional missiles. That is up from 1. 2 additional missiles up from 1. Rule of threes is the same. The cost of your next Arcane Blast or Arcane Missiles is reduced by 100%. And Arcane Familiar is still boring and you shouldn't take it. Level 25, that stupid mana shield is gone, and now we have Master of Time because Alter Time is back. Alter Time was an amazing ability for some cheese and some bonus DPS in Mist of Pandaria when it first came out, but now it is just a utility spell. So if I popped Alter Time right here, and I ran over here, and Alter Time is about to expire, or I can click it again, I'm back here. So that's really great for taking something out of the raid and then instantly porting back. I consider it something along the lines of a Warlock's Demonic Circle, except it doesn't require any premature setup. It's just instantly back to where you were. Very, very useful. So Master of Time reduces the cooldown of Alter Time. It also resets the cooldown of Blink when you use Alter Time. Shimmer is Shimmer, Slipstream is Slipstream. The level 30 row is where things get interesting. Gone are mirror images. Those are now baseline again. They are not so much a DPS increase, but they are a utility / damage reduction spell. So that's cool. It's good to have that flavor back. They don't do much damage, as you can see. They hit for 7 compared to my 200, so they hit for next to nothing, but they're just clones of you that absorb some damage and reduce your damage taken while they're active. Focus Magic is back in its place. Focus Magic, if you remember playing in Cataclysm and I believe Wrath of the Lich King, this is the 5% crit buff you put on your friend, and when they crit, you gain 5% chance to crit. So it's a good raid DPS for you, it's a good raid DPS for your friend. That's awesome. Rune of Power has undergone probably my favorite change that they could have done with Rune of Power. I've never been a big fan because standing in your circle during your cooldowns is boring. And it just requires an additional piece of setup for your cooldowns, and it makes you feel like you're pressing all these buttons just to start pressing your damage buttons. Now, Rune of Power automatically drops when you use Arcane Power. This is incredible. When you pop Arcane Power, you're already set up. You don't have to cast a rune beforehand. This is, it feels amazing to play, and I'll kind of go into the rotation here in a second. Resonance is still Resonance, increases the damage per targeted hits for Arcane Barrage. Arcane Echo, however, is the new talent, and I am a huge fan of this also. For those of you who played in Warlords of Draenor, you will probably remember Prismatic Crystal. This is Prismatic Crystal, basically. So, to kind of show you and go over the rotation, I'm going to get up to 4 stacks. Actually, no, you don't even have to, because Touch of the Magi gives you 4 stacks. So you're up to 4 stacks. I pop Arcane Power, Rune of Power drops, and you'll see, as I'm casting Arcane Missiles, this Arcane Echo causes my Touch of the Magi to explode rapidly around targets. So this turns it into a really amazing cleave spell for Mythic Plus. Arcane's getting what it was missing in BFA and in Legion back. It's getting this really great cleave back in the form of Arcane Echo. It's getting some interesting talents. I can't be happy enough with it. Nether Temp 3 targets. It has a chance to generate an extra arcane charge. That's okay. And then we have a reason to care about your mana in Shadowlands again. So for those of you who played in Cataclysm Arcane Mage, Mastery was based upon the percentage of mana you had. So you did more damage the higher mana you had. And there was breakpoints, and 70% was about that breakpoint. Now with Enlightened, when you're above 70% mana, your damage is increased by 8%, and mana regen below 70% is increased by 20%. That's great. This isn't like the most amazing groundbreaking talent, but it gives you an option in this row that's actually interesting and requires some management and thought. It's good for Arcane to want to manage their charges. And then finally, the level 50 row. Overpowered is the same, and it just basically doubles the damage bonus and mana cost reduction of Arcane Power. Arcane Orb is exactly the same. You can fire this off and it generates some charges. When it hits things, it generates one charge when you hit it, and then additional charge every time it deals damage. And then, and I can't switch, oh, I can switch it now. Well, almost. Time Anomaly. So Time Anomaly was not something that was used basically ever because of how good Overpowered is. However, Time Anomaly can give you Time Warp for 6 seconds. So it's either Arcane Power for 8 seconds, Evocation for 1 second, so that helps you keep your mana up and lets you continue Arcane Blasting, or Time Warp for 6 seconds, which is amazing haste buff. I feel like Time Anomaly, if it's tuned right and procs enough, is going to be the go-to talent, and it is so much fun. Like, that's what you were kind of hearing in the background here. Like, I'll just like that. I got Evocation, I'll get Time Warp here in a few minutes, and you'll kind of get these situations where you have these back-to-back procs of interesting things going on. You'll have Arcane Power all of a sudden, so you're pumping out extra damage, and you can use that because you have it for 8 seconds. You can use that to drop your Touch the Magi, or you can use it to dump out a couple extra Arcane Blasts during that little window there. If you have a weak aura to track this, that's amazing. That's super fun. In PvP, you have this extra little bonus of damage. So I know now that I have Arcane Power, I can pump out some extra damage right now that I would have normally not had because I'm just doing my maintenance phase for Arcane. So overall, the talent changes for Arcane I think are incredible. I think that this is exactly what the spec needed as far as talents go. There's still a couple, I would call them dead talents because of how boring they are. Arcane Familiar just isn't fun. Incanter's Flow isn't fun. Rune of Power is fun again. Rune of Power, not only do you get one that you can place on the ground, but you also get it when you Arcane Power. But, I mean, Focus Magic is somewhat interesting. It lets you buff a teammate if someone's really benefiting from crit in your raid, like a Fury Warrior, for example, or a Fire Mage even. You're getting a benefit from them, they're getting a benefit from you. That's a good little synergistic thing to have. But Rune of Power, 40% damage on top of your cooldown is probably going to be the go-to still. Kind of sucks that it's mathematically the best in pretty much every situation. But back to the talents. I think everything in here is great. Supernova is the same that it's always been. And I think my favorite new talent is Arcane Echo. Having Touch the Magi baseline and being able to like dump abilities into it for extra, basically free explosive damage all the time, especially if you were to pool up 2 charges of clear casting first. You could dump this big AoE with Touch of the Magi, and then it explodes on top of that, and super awesome. So let's go over like the general changes that Arcane has seen other than their talents. So again, we already talked about it. Alter Time is back. Presence of Mind is the same, and it's baseline. Prismatic Armor, we still have that. Conjure Mana Gem is back for those of you who care. 10% of your maximum mana, holds up to 3 charges. Does it? Its cooldown does happen while you're in combat, so it's not like a potion. You still have Slow. Again, Touch the Magi is baseline. Clear Casting has 2 charges now, so that's good. So you're not like clipping charges. You're not feeling like you're wasting something during your big Arcane Blast burn, because you can store up 2 charges of Clear Casting. And then as we're leveling up in Shadowlands, we run into these rank 3s, well, rank 2s and rank 3s for a couple of spells, and they change quite a bit of things. For those of you who played in Legion, Arcane Barrage grants you 2% of your maximum mana per arcane charge spent. So on 4 charges, which is when you would always dump it, that's 8% of your maximum mana. That helps you keep it full. That helps you benefit from that Enlighten talent, and it kind of smooths out their AoE gameplay as well. I would say that that definitely helps like keep things moving and keep things flowing there. Presence of Mind gives you an additional Arcane Blast to be cast instant, so it gives you 3 on a 1-minute cooldown, which is very nice. And then Arcane Power, its duration is increased by 5 seconds, so that turns it into a 15-second duration. The one thing that I didn't mention earlier is that Arcane Power is actually a 2-minute cooldown now, up from 1.5. So while it's unfortunate that it's a longer cooldown because it's lasting 15 seconds, I think it kind of makes up for it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think having it and then having in tandem with Rune of Power will be plenty of fine. Having it be 15 seconds also means that it lasts the entire duration of Rune of Power, which is a really great stacking of damage there. Lets you set up some really awesome burst windows. Everything else is exactly the same. Arcane has greater invisibility. And yeah, Arcane hasn't changed a great deal, but the changes that have been made here are incredible. I think that they're exactly what the spec needs, and just playing it on a training dummy, imagining playing it in an instance, testing it out in some Mythic Plus, this might be a viable mage spec again. And I kind of miss that. I miss the WoD days, and I miss the Cataclysm days of being able to jump into Arcane and do some. While it's simpler, I think it has really great potential for a lot of fun there and some really explosive big numbers, and that's fun to see sometimes. So I'm just going to leave you guys with some gameplay of me testing the dummy, maybe me practicing up, saving up some charges for Touch of the Magi. Just so you guys know, I do stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on Twitch, twitch.tv/Nox_VZN. That'll be a link in the description below. I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Here we go. Big burst window. We've got 4 charges. Look at that explosion. Oh, and time warp on top of it. That is fun. That's so fun.